Hello and welcome to today's IELTS session. I'm Lusine IELTS teacher and trainer for over 10 years now, both academic and general modules. So in today's lesson, we're going to have a look at the test structure, clarify the differences between the two modules, and most importantly, we will be looking at the reading part of the test, as this is considered as one of the most challenging by the students. So you will be given some useful tips concerning your reading preparation, and we will do a little practice test as well. So let's get started. Because you're already an IELTS potential candidate, there are some questions you need to have a look before you take the test. So some common questions are, which module do I need? Guys, if you're going to take the test for immigration or working purposes, then you need to take the general version of the test. However, if you're going to continue with your study abroad, then you're going to take the academic version of the test. Or maybe it's not abroad, it is in your country, however, that is an academic institution, college, university, then it is, of course, academic module. Another common question is, am I going to take computer-delivered or paper-based test? And my answer is always the same. If you are quick with your fingers and if you're a good typer, then it goes without saying that computer-delivered is the best option for you because you will save time for reading, for writing parts. And what's more, you will receive your results sooner than if you take the paper-based test. The difference between general and academic modules is in the structure is that for writing of general, you are required to write a letter. Meanwhile, for academic test takers, there are loads of graphs, charts, process diagrams for students to interpret. And also reading part is different, and we're going to touch upon this in a second. I say that here we can see that the reading length is the same for both academic and general modules. It's still 60 minutes, and there are still 3 sections going from easy to hard. However, section 3 is of same difficulty for both modules. So for academic module, you have 3 long texts taken from books, journals, magazines, newspapers. They are not adapted, okay? For general test takers, there will be 2 short texts and 1 longer passage, which are mostly taken from notices, ads, handbooks, official documents, etc. Mostly for general test takers, they are related to work situations. Okay, moving further, general advice on reading. On total, we have got 14 question types. And what we see most of the time is advised, recommended, is the skimming and scanning skills. So it's generally advised to develop this technique, and I am one of the people who recommend this because it makes your reading more effective and fast. So however, let's be honest, guys, are you going to work magic if you have only skimming and scanning skills? No, we need vocabulary. And vocabulary is the key to success because for academic test takers, we have got to paraphrase, understand synonyms of more difficult texts. How to build vocabulary, where to find these words, you would say. So there are so many sources like news sources. National Geographic, The Guardian are some of the say websites or newspapers which I definitely recommend to students because reading passages themselves are sometimes very, very similar to the texts that you will see in National Geographic or the Guardian websites. Also, I'd say one of my favorites is Cambridge Vocabulary for IELTS book. This book, it contains 20 units on different subjects, and this words vocabulary list later on comes also many times for academic reading and not only. Directing linkers, these are words that show you, like, um, they also prompt you where your answer lies, like saying, along with, by contrast, however, on the one hand, meanwhile. So these directing linkers are very useful for you also to locate, to read, and understand. Modal verbs, make sure that you understand the difference between them, what they mean. For example, the word should or the word must are not the same as the word can or may or even might. So that's why this is very tricky, and this is why some students have struggled for true false not given questions, as the question might contain the word must, meanwhile the text doesn't make something obligatory. So um, you should know the difference, okay? So a very, I say, a favorite question, I'd say this is a favorite question. Shall I read the whole text, then go to the questions? From my side, the answer is a no, okay? You have, guys, only 60 minutes. If you divide the 60 minutes, or if you know that you have got 40 questions to answer, so do the calculation by yourself, right? So you don't have 1 minute as with something and more than that for each question. So you can't just um, read the whole text and have no time for questions. Moreover, some parts of the passages are not even necessary or needed for our questions. And remember that for reading, you are scored for each correct answer. So there's no need for you to really make sure you answer all the questions of passage one, then move to passage two. No, just answer the questions that you can, because in every passage there are some easy questions. Make sure that you go like through all the passages, answer all the questions you can, and get back to the ones that you couldn't. Your preparation can be productive if you dedicate approximately 20 minutes per each passage, right? 20 minutes per each passage, and then you see if you are still stuck at some questions, just move to the next passage. How to address the task. Okay, now let's concentrate on this part. Make sure you read the instructions, how many words you need to write, what you need to do, if you need to repeat the letter or there's no need for you to repeat the paragraph, for example. So what I advise is the following. Open the test, read the title and any subtitles that you have. Then go to the questions, okay? Read the question carefully. You don't need to understand each and every word in the question. You can guess many of them through context. You can try guessing them. And you need to analyze the question, what it wants you to do, the keywords inside the question, how many parts of that question you need to find in the text, especially if it's true, false, not given question. So when you locate, then you go back to the text. Then you locate the part, the place where your answer probably lies. You start doing detailed reading afterwards, okay? So you go to the question, analyze the question with the keywords, get back to the passage, locate the information, and then read in detail, trying to find the answer. When you find the answer, make sure you read before and after those sentences to make sure that you're right, okay? And check your answers if you have time, especially grammatically, okay? Specifically about yes, no, not given, and true, false, not given types of questions. What we have here is, say, the common mistake and confusion between false and not given, no and not given types of answers. Um, it's easy with true because you see that the statement that comes as a question is the same in the passage, just paraphrased or with synonyms, but it says the same as the statement. So it agrees with the statement or the opinion of the writer, yes? In case of yes, no, not given. However, when there is false, and not given, many students struggle here. So let's see what they first of all mean, okay? False, it means that there is a proof, evidence in the text that the statement written is wrong, okay? Not that it is not mentioned completely or something, but it is wrong. You can find the proof either by words that say the opposite or with some paraphrased version saying the opposite. I mean, rejecting your statement. However, in terms of not given, it's not that you will not see the statement in the passage. You will see, you are likely to see the statement in the passage still, but some of it you will not be able to really find. And the mistake by students lies here because they think that if it's a not given, then I'm not going to read about that in the passage anywhere. So you are going to see some mentioning, okay, of the question in the passage. You will see something. However, some part of this question you will see. However, when you want to make sure that it is true or false, you still hesitate to answer. And when you hesitate to answer where you're not 100%, remember that it's just a not given answer for reading. Okay? We will see this, of course, in practice as well. How to make the statement easy for you to understand. Just try turning it into a yes-no question. For example, the statement or question might be the following. Digital libraries could have more professional image than the internet. Yes, no, not given. True, false, not given. What if we make it a question? Could digital libraries have more professional image than the internet? Yes, they could. No, they couldn't. Well, there is some mentioning about that, but we're not sure if they will. They could they could be more professional with the image than the internet. We're not sure about something. Or there is that they're going to be more professional, but there is no comparison with what. Okay, so in this case, that would be a not given. However, if the text clearly mentions that they will not have professional image, more professional, they will be of the same or less, then it's false. If it says, for example, that they are going to make the internet pale, for instance, in this case, that we understand that making the internet pale is the same as that digital libraries could have more professional image, because in that case the internet would be made pale. So we would answer true. So when we underline the keywords of the question, we think of synonyms, we locate the information in the text, and we read closely for the meaning. There will be always distractions for you, something for you to get confused about your answer. But believe me, if you follow the techniques, you know what you're doing, then you're less likely to be tricked. Okay. Oh yes, before I forget, please, please, please do not ever use your own knowledge, your own information when you answer to the questions, especially for not given questions. Because, for example, the text might be from your specialty, from your area of specialization. And you know that, for example, the answer to the statement is 100% a no answer because it is wrong. Please do not hurry and write false or no, because the text may not even mention anything about that. So your answer in that case as a no would be wrong, because you should write not given. Because, okay, maybe it's a no, but there is no mentioning, because your answers should be merely based on the text, on the passage, okay? Remember this, and let's move forward to do some practice. Okay, we have got true, false, not given questions taken from Cambridge IELTS 17 book, academic module. We have got the text saying bats to the rescue. Remember, titles, subtitles if there are any, questions. Analyzing the question, locating the answer in the passage, reading for detail. Bats to the rescue. how Madagascar's bats are helping to save the rainforest. Reading this, I make it clear that I'm going to read about nature, about the environment of specific types or specific bats. So I'm going to, in this case, I already sort of make a picture of the text, what's going to be like. And then I go to the question. Many Madagascan forests are being destroyed by attacks from insects. Pause here, take your time to understand the question. So, many Madagascan forests, one thing for me to check that they are not few or some of them, but many Madagascan forests are being destroyed. This is about present. Maybe the text speaks about the past, how it was, but how it is now. These are some tricks, okay? And by what? By who? Okay? So they are destroyed by attacks from insects. In other words, insects attack the Madagascan forests, as a result of which the forests become destroyed. This is how you need to work with the question to understand it thoroughly, to know what you're going to check and how many parts of the question you're going to check. So now let's locate this part in the text. Okay, some keywords like Madagascan forests, or let's see. So Madagascan forests, let's see what it says, are being converted. So Madagascan forests are being converted to agricultural land at a rate of 1% every year. So they are transforming from forest to agricultural land. Much of this destruction is fueled by the cultivation of the country's main staple crop, rice. And the key reason for this destruction is that insect pests are destroying vast quantities of what is grown by local subsistence farmers, leading them to clear forests to create new paddy, blah, blah. So I located my answer. It's somewhere here. Now I'm reading for detail to see if the reason is that insects attack the forests. So they're converted into agricultural land. Okay, so what is the reason? Much of this destruction is fueled by the cultivation of the country's main staple crop. So they need to cultivate to feed the nation, I'd say. And a key reason for this destruction, and the key reason, so much of this destruction is fueled by cultivation, not yet attacks. And the key reason for this destruction is that insect pests are destroying vast quantities of what is grown by local subsistence farmers. So they attack not the forest, but they attack what is grown by local subsistence farmers. What was grown was the crop, yes? And as a result, leading them to clear forest. Who is this them? Is this the insects? Leading them to clear forests. This them refers back to the word farmers. So leading the farmers to clear forests to create new paddy fields. So the reason Madagascan forests are being destroyed by attacks from insects is not that forests are being destroyed by attacks. It's because they are turned into land, and on this land insects come and destroy the crops, as a result of which farmers clear they clear them, and the result of which, of course, the forest dies. So this means that this is because of not insects attacking the forest, destroying it, but because of what I already mentioned. This is the technique of IELTS reading. This is the mentality and thinking of IELTS, okay? If you think that, oh, I saw insects, they came, it says that the key destruction of this insect pest are destroying, so I found the answer. Make sure that you read thoroughly. You have parts to check if it is being destroyed by attacks from insects or not. When you answer, you say, for example, true. Prove yourself that you are right. Highlight the part and the answer here. see if they say exactly the same thing. If they are not really saying exactly the same thing, that you can't write true for this answer, right? So I'll write false to question number 1. Moving further, question number 2. Let's see what it says. Loss of habitat has badly affected insectivorous bats in Madagascar. Loss of habitat has badly affected insectivorous bats in Madagascar. Some parts for me to check. What has badly affected? Loss of habitat. They don't have habitat, so this badly affects what? What type of bat? Insectivorous bat. Okay, so first of all, I need to find the information, and to help me find is this technical word describing the species, which is the word insectivorous. Okay, so let's get to that part. Here I can see the word, because they are not going to change words which are technical words, I'll say. So in fact, some of the island's insectivorous bats are currently thriving, and this has important implications for farmers and conservations alike. The result, so I found, I'm reading questions before now to remember. The result is devastating habitat. Devastating habitat. So we understand that the loss of habitat we have loss of habitat, maybe devastating habitat, and biodiversity loss on the island. So this is my loss of habitat. Let's see if this has affected badly. But not all species are suffering. Not all of them. Loss of habitat has badly affected insectivorous bats. Let's check about this bat. In fact, some of the island's insectivorous bats are currently thriving, and this has important implications, blah blah. So we see that the loss of habitat has not badly affected this specific type of bat because they are thriving, right? So I would answer no to this question again, which would be in this case false. Ricardo Rocha has carried out studies of bats in different parts of the world. Has Ricardo Rocha carried out studies of bats in different parts of the world? Yes, no, not given. Let's have a look. Find this person. Guys, what you can do, I would recommend you, for example, pause the video and using the techniques that I have already suggested, work on the answers yourself and then check with me the answers. If they are not correct from your side, listen to the explanation. This is one way that you can work now with the video. Okay. So let's find Ricardo Rocha. Here we are. He has carried out studies of bats. Ricardo Rocha, he's passionate about conservation and bats. So speaking about the studies that he carried out, was really interested in how bats are responding to humans. So it speaks about how he's interested. He is interested in exactly what, but we need to find the studies. Richard's new study, so he has got some studies, yes, shows that several species of bats are giving. So I have found already that Ricardo Rocha has carried out studies. I'm checking for the second part. Bats in different parts of the world can also by fasting or produce of insects. So where were these studies taken? And this we believe can be the financial question. It's all about the studies. There's no mentioning about different parts of the world, but there is mentioning about that he has done some studies. So what do you think I should answer to this question? I found some part of it, but do I know about this one? Can I answer false? How do I know that it wasn't from different parts of the world? Maybe it was. And how do I know it's true? Maybe it is not from different parts of the world. So guys, I'm not sure. So I will go to not given. This would be correct, of course. So false, not given so far. Let's go to question number 4. Habitat modification has resulted in indigenous bats in Madagascar becoming useful to farmers. If you pay attention, when it comes to reading the question, I slow down because I need, as a potential candidate, test taker, to understand what the question is about. Students read the question, hurry and jump to the passage, then again to the question, then to the passage. Just read the question thoroughly. So habitat modification has resulted in indigenous pets in Madagascar becoming useful to farmers. So I was just reading about some for farmers and conservation alike. So let's have a look about whether or not these indigenous beds are useful to farmers. In other words. So you can see that we have got here the farmers. We know that true false not given questions go in turn, so we will not jump here to our next question. They go in turn. Okay, they follow order. It's very good. So I've got here so more specifically he's interested in about something. Madagascar's rice farmers, vital pest control service by festing are giving that several species of pets are giving rice farmers a vital pest control service. They provide sort of pest control service to farmers, which is vital, which is significant, which is very important. And this, he believes, can ease the financial pressure on farmers even. So, which means that they help farmers. Habitat modification has resulted in indigenous pets. So what about the indigenous pets specifically? We're talking actually about that here, which means that logically this is the continuation of the previous paragraph. I would definitely go and write true for this answer. The Madagascar mouse-eared bat is more common than indigenous bat species in Madagascar. Indigenous, it's like the small proportion, small number. The Malagasy mouse-eared bat is more common than other indigenous bat species, bat types in Madagascar. So I need to see, is a mouse-eared bat more common than other bat species in Madagascar? Let's find mouse-eared bat in the passage. Here we are. They include the Madagascar mouse-eared bat, major long-fingered bat. This is the description of another one, another one, another one, and another one. So we are talking about some bat types, including mouse-eared bat. So we have located, but let's read for detail. Co-leading an international team of scientists, Rocha found that several species of indigenous bats are taking advantages of habitat modification to hunt insects swarming above the country's rice field. They include this and this and this and that. So now back to the question. This bat is more common than other indigenous species. Have I read something about them being more common? I don't remember. So, but do I know that it is false? How do I know? Do I have some word, some paraphrasing that says that they are not common? I don't. I have nothing to base my answer on. So, not given, guys. Not given. Okay? The last but not the least, bats may feed on paddy swarming caterpillars and grass webworms. Let's understand the question. Bats may feed on, so they may eat, yes? Bats may eat these species, caterpillars and grass webworms. Let's find the part where it speaks about what bats eat. I think we are done here. Moving on. Okay, let's see about eating. We found that We found that 6 species of bats are preying on. When I'm skimming and scanning through the passage, I see words that mean the same as my question, and the word is prey on something. Prey is when you hunt, or animals hunt and they get their food. So they prey on they eat. What do they eat? They eat rice pads, okay, including what types? Do they include paddy swarming caterpillars and grassworms? Including the paddy swarming caterpillars and grass webworms. So we found that 6 species of bats are preying on. Bats may feed on. Okay, and we have both this and this. If we had this one but not the other one, we would write still not given. But if we had that they feed only on this one, not this one, then it would be false. But for this case, question number 6, we have the answer as true. Okay, so remember, feed on is the same as to prey on. And these words, by the way, again come from Cambridge IELTS vocabulary book, which I have mentioned earlier, which you can read and develop and boost your vocabulary. Another question type is summary completion question. What is this? We have got short summary or sentences which have got some words missing, and we need to find this word from the text to fill out our sentences. Or, more challenging, we need to fill these places out with words from the box, not from the passage directly. The difference between them is quite huge, I'd say, and the difficulty is also quite big, because for taking words from the passage is a bit easier. We find a word, we copy paste it. By the way, many students ask if they can copy paste words from the passage. My answer is a yes. Good news there. So you cannot just right click and copy paste, but you can on the mouse, but you can work on the keyboard and Control C, Control V the keys on the keyboard will help you to copy and paste the word to avoid spelling mistakes. You can also highlight the words on the real examination on computer test because you can right click and see the highlight option there. However, if you are working on paper-based test, you're taking that type, then you're welcome to do any kind of highlighting or modification on the test passage because nobody's going to look at them. This is yours, but you need to transfer your answers in the answer sheet, and on the answer sheet, just make sure that you're clear with your answers. So coming back to summary completion not from the passage, summary completion from the box is different. These words that are in the box, they are similar in meaning, or they are the combination of the words that you will see in the text. To make this easier for you to understand, let's address that just after we do summary completion from the text. Okay, after this exercise, we will move to boxing exercise. How to understand the summary for both cases. Try to understand the sentence idea that is given, not just word by word. I'm saying again, I repeat myself, but the idea of the sentence. What's it about? What does it say? What does it want you to find? Whether the word that you're going to write is a noun, it's a verb, it's an adjective, or anything else. So after that, go to the text and locate the information there, read in detail, and remember that in summary completion, again, we have got this good news that questions and answers, they follow order. Okay, so make sure that after writing the word, your sentence is grammatically correct. This is a part of the text that I again took from Cambridge IELTS 17 book and academic version again. So I tried to take out some of the passage. So the one where you can actually locate the information. So for you to make it easier, I have got the questions here and the text on the other side, which exactly is what you will have for the real examination. Your screen will be divided into 2 parts if you are taking CD version. On the right side, you will see the answers. On the left side, you will see the text, and you can scroll up and down. And it is very, very user-friendly, convenient for test takers. You don't have the problem of going too much back and forward with your test. So remember, we don't read the whole text. We read side title, subtitle, and we go to the question. So here we have got one word only, very important. If your answer is correct, however, it has got two words, then your answer is unfortunately not correct. So, the study carried out by Rocha's team. This means that inside the passage, I'm not going to read the whole passage, but I will find only the study which is carried out by Rocha's team. So I started actually from, I put it from here, so for you to go easier. Actually, you can locate this easily if you follow the keywords. Let's analyze the summary before we get to the passage, as I mentioned. The study, the aim, which is the reason, the purpose, why they did it. Method, in what way they do their study, or they did. Findings, the results, outcomes, what they discovered. And recommendation, advice, what should be done afterwards. So you should work with everything, with every type of question like this to explain yourself, right? Understand, then go. Let's proceed. So to investigate the fitting, so this is about the aims. We will move from aiming part and go to the methods and see how the investigation, the study was carried out, was done. So we see that it was done in two ways. Try to logically also understand. Yes, this is not just an examination of English, but you need to multitask using your logic many times. So method, ultrasonic recording to identify favorite feeding spot, and the method of DNA analysis of bad something. Analysis of what? Okay, so we understand that here we have got bad what? Noun. DNA analysis. Now let's locate DNA. Okay. DNA analysis of what? Now I'm reading in detail. Okay, so this is about ultrasonic recording as the first method that you saw. We move further. They next use DNA recording techniques to analyze bat what? The dropping collected from bats at different sites. Bat what? Droppings collected from the bats at different sites. So my answer is droppings, which are they, because they are collected from bats. Grammatically, it would be analysis of bat droppings at different sites, at different places. I cannot change the form of the word, make it singular, plural, etc. I just need to take the word as it is and put it in my answer place, gap. So going to the findings, discoveries, the bats, so these are many discoveries that we did. They were most active in rice fields located in the hills. Let's find the hills and then proceed afterwards. So my answer should be somewhere here. They ate pests of rice. We see of, so then we see that of refers to the things following after it. So they ate pests of rice, of something else, of sugar cane, of nuts and fruits. Logically, all of this, reasonably, they will be mentioned already in the text, and the one that we don't have here should be somewhere in between them. So they ate pests of rice. Let's see what pests. About eating. Let's see what they ate. Okay. They were consuming pests, consuming, using, eating, finishing that. So they found indicators that pets were consuming pests of other crops, including the black twig borer, which is the one of the pests, which infects coffee plants. So we can see that this is a rice. This is the one that infests coffee plants. Here we have got sugarcane, which was written, and nuts, which was written, and fruits also, which was written. So I would here go the one that was not mentioned here. Fruits are mentioned, sugar cane is mentioned, nuts are mentioned. So let's see. They were consuming pests of other crops, including the black twig borer. Should I write pests of rice, twig, black twig borer? I need to find the not the not the word. Like if it was like that, then they would write something like sober teddy, not the fruit. So I need to understand the meaning of what is this, which infests coffee plants. So these are pests which infest coffee plants. The sugar cane, cicada, the other one. So let's go. They ate pests of rice, pests of coffee plants. They infest coffee plants. So these are pests of coffee plants, sugarcane nuts, and fruits. These words are very helpful for me to understand which one should I take for this, because this, and that are mentioned in the text, following order. Going to another discovery, they got it that the bats prevent the spread of disease. Oh, that's interesting. So the bats prevent this, they stop the spread of disease, viruses, by eating and black flies. Oh, they stop the virus by eating something and the black flies. They eat something and they eat another species, I understand, because they prevent the spread of disease by eating. So what do they eat? Maybe they eat a plant, maybe they eat another species like black flies. Here the helping word for me would be the disease, the black fly. Black fly mostly, maybe disease comes with synonym. So it follows order, so let's get here. So here we have got, where does it from? Nothing to do with diseases, only for the reason. Another reason to be grateful to their bats. So this is linking me, directing me to my answer, because they found further reason to be grateful. There is another reason, maybe that is the disease stopping reason. While the animal is often associated with spreading disease, Rocha has and his team found evidence, proof, that Malagasy bats feed not just on crop pests, but also on mosquitoes, carriers of malaria, and this Rift Valley fever virus, and elephantiasis, some names for the viruses, as well as black flies, which spread river and another blindness, or river blindness. Oh my god! So they are the black flies, which bats eats and stop the virus, and they are mosquitoes, which they eat and stop the virus of malaria. So here I can say that the prevent spread of disease by eating mosquitoes and black flies. Grammatically correct? Yes. Local attitudes to bats are mixed. Let's find the part when it speaks about local attitudes, the living people there who have mixed, not the same attitude towards the bats. Okay, let's locate it. When you see here, it says local people. Sorry, so local people may have a further reason. So this is about local people, but let's go, and we have located it somewhere here. So moving on to find the word. Local attitude to bats are mixed because they provide food rich in something. They provide food rich in what? Rich in what? First of all, what is this they? They refers back to the mentionings, to the words, sentences before preceding it. Local attitudes to bats are mixed. Bats provide food rich in what? While animals is often associated with disease. Okay, so we read this part. Roger points out that relationship complicated. The food is scarce. Bats become a crucial source of protein for local people. Even the children will hunt them. So speaking about what they are rich in, what do you think we found here? They provide food rich in protein. The buildings where they roost become, so let's see the word roost to help us. Roost. So even the children will hunt them, and as well as roosting the trees. We are not speaking about the trees, but we are speaking about homes. The bats sometimes roost in buildings, but are not welcome there because they make them unclean. What is them? Again, referring to pronouns. Make the buildings unclean. The buildings where they roost become, the buildings become unclean. They play an important role in local what? Okay, local what? It's a noun. They play an important role in local. At the same time, however, they are associated with scarce curves at the ancestors, so they can be viewed as being between worlds, which makes them very significant in the culture of the people. Significant is the word important, significant. So they play an important role in local what? Which makes them very significant, important in the culture of people, the locals. So play important role in local, in the culture of the people, in the local culture. Grammatically, logically, reasonably. Okay. Moving to recommendation, the advice. Farmers should provide special something to support the bat population. Farmers should provide special what to support, the bat population. Let's see the farmers and the advice. Purchasers with the right help, this is the support part. We hope that farmers can promote this mutually beneficial relationship by installing bat houses. So farmers should provide special what to support the population. They need to install bat houses. So if I write farmers should provide special bat houses to support the bat population, I would be wrong because it says one word only. So I just take the word bat out and it would be provide special houses to support the bat population. Okay, so far I hope so clear. Let's move to the book's summary completion, which I was talking earlier about. So we have got here the bedrock myth, again taken from a Cambridge 17 academic book. Again, we have a title, and as you remember, the title helps us locate the information, not only the title, but also when you read, it's easier from the first sentence for us to locate the information in the passage. Most of the time, summary comes not from the whole passage, but from some specific part of the passage. Okay, so let's see. Here we have got some chapters, paragraphs, and it says, if you go through, it says chapter 5, 7, chapter 8 in the final chapter. So the bedrock myth. What is myth? You don't need it's not 1% very important to understand, maybe for you to answer the questions, but myth is what is not real, but it is talked about as if it is real. Yes. So bedrock myth. In chapter 7, bar indicates, I'll go to chapter 7, it's about this. Okay. In chapter 7, bar indicates how the lack of bedrock close to the surface does not explain why skyscrapers are absent from something, somewhere maybe. So in chapter 7, this person shows how the lack of bedrock, so there is not enough bedrock, close to the surface, but this does not explain why skyscrapers are absent from. Let's see what he says. In chapter 7, the bedrock myth, the assumption that absence of bedrock close to the surface between downtown and Middletown, New York, this is where we are located, is the reason for skyscrapers not being built between the two urban centers. So they are absent from the two urban centers, right? So if this was just a summary completion, I would write the two urban centers. But this is not. I need to find my answer from the box. But if you paid attention what I did, I still in my mind wrote the word here from the passage. You need to write somewhere or highlight the answer that you found here. Why? Because the synonym of this answer is going to be in the box. Okay, so the answer here was from between the two urban centers. Let's see which one is close to the two urban centers. They are absent. Skyscrapers, start reading from here. Skyscrapers are absent from development plans. Excessive expense, nothing to do with the costs. Water level. Construction guidelines, we don't have anything about that. Deep excavations. Excavation is when you dig something, go deep in the surface. Impossible tasks, nothing to do with the tasks, but to urban centers. Specific areas. Between two urban centers, specific areas, places. I'm keeping this as a potential answer, but I continue reading. Great distance. We speak about the being built between the two urban centers, so it's not great distance. Associated risks, total expenditure. So my answer would be H, and then I will read to check. Surface does not explain why skyscrapers are absent from specific areas. He points out that although the cost of foundations increase, the money goes high when bedrock is deep below the surface. This cannot be regarded as something, especially when compared to another thing. So here, the idea of the sentence is about money, the costs, the funds, although the cost of foundations increases when the bedrock is deep below the surface. Let's find this part. He argues that while deeper bedrock does increase foundation costs, these costs were neither prohibitively high nor were they large compared to overall cost. So I found my answers here compared to overall cost for 38, my initial answer, and 37 would be the costs were neither prohibitively high nor were they large compared. High and large, regarded as prohibitively large and high. That's fine. Something we read about excessive expense and something to do with overall cost, which is overall is your total. So I'd write down here regarded as D, especially when compared to I. Okay, hopefully you're doing good so far, and let's move on to the next paragraph. A particularly enjoyable part of the chapter was Barr's account of how foundations are built. For me to understand where I need to get it, a particularly enjoyable part of the chapter, a particularly enjoyable part of the chapter. Enjoyable part of the chapter. So this means that we are still talking of the same chapter, right? We were in the chapter 7. A particularly enjoyable part of the chapter. What I enjoyed the most about this chapter. See, your language awareness gets you closer to understanding these types of questions and locating them. What I enjoyed the most about the chapter was, what was it? Barr's account of foundations are built. Discussion of how foundations are actually built. So I finished with this. Now I need to go to the answer. He describes not only how blah blah are made possible by the use of cases. He described cases as specific, like machine tool equipment that you have on the water. But even if you don't know the word, no worries. It will be in the same way written because it's a technical word. He describes not only how are made possible by use of cases. So I need to see these cases. What do they make possible? Yes, and it should be with plural. The top, mm, he describes not only how, he describes the use of caissons, which enable workers to dig down for considerable distances, often below the water table. Hmm. So what do they do with the help of caissons? The workers are able to dig down for considerable distances. So it makes that it describes not only how digging down is possible, and digging down I will find here with synonym of deep excavation. So he describes not only how deep excavations, plural form, are, so it goes grammatically, made possible by use of caissons, but he also discusses, so what does he discuss? uh, until they reach better bars through technological history discusses not only but also uh, the dangers involved, but he also discusses their dangers. Huh, dangers. Let's have a look. Risks. So their associated risks. I put them in the places. I see if my answers are grammatically correct. If they are not, then probably there are some answers which are close to each other. Maybe I need to consider the other option as well. So think about that. And I do believe that practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the better you will get into the atmosphere and the environment of IELTS reading mentality, and the better you will do. Okay, going to another type of question, which is matching headings. Again, some students having trouble with this type of questions. Let's see what the challenge is. Okay, here. Let's remember that if for other parts mentioned we were going in following order in the passage, for headings, of course, there is no order following because it would be completely not logical, because we need to find what heading suits what paragraph. For us, I personally suggest the following. Go through the headings before you go to the text. Just go through them. Don't go like reading in detail. You will forget them very soon. Just go through them. There are extra headings that you will not need. Okay. Analyze the headings before matching. So you read the paragraph, you go to the headings already for detailed reading, analyze it before you match for final. And the purpose here is to understand the paragraph overall, not just one word, or this is not about like we did through skimming and scanning previously, but this is about really reading the paragraph and understanding the main idea, and I'd say the message of the paragraph, what the paragraph is about. If you write essays, you know that with our main opening sentence, topic sentence, we already have the main idea of our paragraph. The same with the paragraphs. Mostly we have got our answers based on main idea of the paragraph, but still you need to go through to understand the paragraph and then to explain yourself. What was this paragraph about? What was it trying to say? Then explain yourself. What was it trying to say? What was it really about? Why was it written? Then you go to the headings. You analyze the one that was very close to what you assumed, and that should be your answer. The text is taken, if I'm not mistaken, from General IELTS preparation by Cambridge, either for Cambridge IELTS 16 or 17 again. Plastic is no longer fantastic. So, understandably, I'm going to read about environment, about plastic. By the way, what do you think about plastic? We know that it takes thousands and thousands of years to corrode. So we are doing great harm to the environment, right? If we just throw them away to the nature. So be careful when you use the material and make sure that you really recycle. Okay. Right. So getting back to our headings, here we have got part of the text because I wanted to make it user friendly for you. And here we have got 4 paragraphs taken out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They were originally 7 paragraphs. So we have 7 paragraphs, but we have 8 headings. So one is extra to confuse, of course. So how I address, as you remember, I read the whole paragraph, trying to understand the main idea of the paragraph. I go to the headings, I read the headings, understand the keywords, and see which one was close to the main idea of the paragraph. So, the headings, a time when opportunities were limited. So, a time when opportunities were limited, something about the past, reasons why Fernando's product is needed. So, reason why it should be there, and no risk solution. Pretty easy. 2 inventions and some physical details. We have 2 inventions with their details. The contrasting views of different generations. One view and another view. A disturbing experience. So something happened which changed something. So changing experience, I would say. The problem with replacing a consumer item. The problem, the issue, what happened if we do so. Looking back at why water is bottled, so we have a look at the history of the reasons of why water bottled. Interesting, by the way. So in 2017, Carlos Andando, then we see who it was, we move on. So a piece of art in a museum that profoundly affected him. I think high-level test takers already guessed the title, but we continue reading. Okay, so he saw a piece of art in a museum that profoundly affected him. What lies under? A photographic composition by Indonesian digital artist shows a child crouching by the edge of the ocean and lifting up a wave to reveal a cluster of assorted plastic waste, from polyethylene bags to water bottles. The artwork, designed to raise public awareness, left Ferrando angry and fueled with entrepreneurial ideas. I read, now I try to understand. So what happened? I tell myself the paragraph. So this person went to a museum, he saw an artwork which was showing a person, the artwork was showing the, say, the plastic waste, and this profoundly affected him. It left him fueled with entrepreneurial ideas. He was angry. So, what happened? You can even go through the headings and exclude the ones that are 100% not for the paragraph and see which ones you are left with. At how were opportunities were limited? Do we have here a mentioning of opportunities, limited opportunities? The reason why Ferrando product is needed. What product? We don't know about any product yet. And no risk solution. What solution is there? Nothing. 2 inventions? Nothing. No, nothing about 2 inventions, right? The contrasting views of different generations? Exclude. A disturbing experience. What is the experience? His visit to the museum. Disturbing experience, changing experience. So probably you might take this one for now. The problems with replacing a consumer item, the problems with replacing, we haven't spoken about any issues yet. Looking back at why water was bottled, nothing to do with bottling. So a disturbing experience would be my answer here, not only because we excluded others, but because also we saw that there was a disturbing experience, a situation, a case in this person's life which changed his life, fueling him with entrepreneurial ideas. Okay, and here we see that he then engineer turned entrepreneur. He actually turned into entrepreneur as a result. Okay, paragraph 2, guys. Fernando runs a Spanish-based design company that produces an smart, foldable, flexible bicycle helmet. So he has got a company. He runs the company where they produce flexible, smart bicycle helmet, which you can actually fold. But he has now also designed a stylish glass water bottle with stretchy silicone strap. So he has got the second product now with another silicone strap and magnetic closure mechanism, so we see the comments and some description of what this is. And can be attached to anything. Oh, that's a pretty good idea. And the product comes with an app even, so that tells people where they can fill their bottles with water for free. Well, we understand. So he had one very good manufacturing company, which actually had its helmets, foldable helmets, but also on top of that, he came out with the second idea. And we also have the description of what that product is. If you remember, there was one with 2 inventions and some physical details. We have the details of how it operates, what it looks like. Okay, going to paragraph C together. The intention is to persuade people to stop buying water. The intention is to persuade, so the reason is to persuade. Why is product was made? Because it has got the intention to persuade people to stop buying water in plastic bottles, thus saving consumers money and reducing the plastic waste piling up in our oceans. Okay, so we spoke about why the intention is to persuade people why he made this, the one that was mentioned earlier. Bottled water is now about the finance, and 81% of the bottles are not recycled. Very bad. It's a complete waste. Okay, we go inside. Fernando cries. Indeed, environmentalists estimate that by 2015 there will be more plastic on our oceans than fish, and that's mainly down to such bottles. We are trying to create a sense that being environmentally sophisticated is a status symbol, he adds. We want people to clip their bottles onto what they are wearing and to show that they are recycling. So let's pay attention, guys. The intention is to persuade. We are trying to create. We want people to clip to their bottles to show that they are recycling. So the whole paragraph basically speaks about how bad this waste is and what they are trying to do, what they are doing as an intention, what they wish as a result, what they want to show, right? So we would go here, 3 reasons I would say here, reasons why Fernando's product is needed. And the last but not the least, Fernando's story, I keep misspelling this person, it's like Fernando or Ferrando. Fernando's story is fascinating because it seems like an indicator of something unexpected. 3 decades ago, suspicious consumption, the purchase of luxuries such as handbags, shoes, cars, etc., on a lavish scale heightened people's social status. So he's speaking about the past, what happened. So these items heightened people's social status. They had used to boost people's social status, right? Maybe like helping them to look posh. Indeed, the closing decades of 20th century were a time when it seemed that anything could be turned into a commodity, hence the fact that water became a consumer item sold in plastic bottles instead of just emerging for free form of a tap. So this is a reference to the past when some items showed person's status, some luxurious items like cars, shoes, handbags, etc. And then we have also that this is the fact that water also became a consumer item to show again some status. Yes, people had, instead of just going and drinking from the tap. Okay, so the paragraph was about historical reference to what these items showed. A time where opportunities were limited. It's about time, but we are not speaking about limited opportunities. We spoke about luxurious items and their purchase. Reasons why product is needed. We have got this a no risk solution. We have got actually a product that was made, but it was not a solution to anything. Okay, rather it was I would say looking back at why water was bottled, because we had a reference to the history. Thus, we looked back why water was bottled, because it showed status. Now let's move on. Oops. So, sorry. List of researchers. Probably last type of question activity today. Here we have got a list of researchers, people, professors, any kind of list of people, um, where we need to match them with the statement given. Here we have got 5 statements, we have got 4 people. Understandably, we understand that the letters will be repeated. They will come more than once. There are so many various techniques of how to address the task. I personally suggest doing the following. I, to be honest, do not go through questions than the text. This is one of the types of the questions that, again, I differ in my uh, techniques and my method. So what I do, I go to the list of researchers. I read the name of the first researcher, for instance. I go to the text and locate this person or this any kind of list that we have in anywhere that the name is mentioned in the text. I find all the places of the first person. Okay. Then what I do, I read the statements mentioned by this person. I try to remember or just highlight the parts where he says things, statements, opinions he mentions. I come back to the statement. I see the ones that I can see mentioned by this person. I mark them or that maybe it's one statement. Then I move to the second speaker, second person, second researcher, second professor. Okay, second. Give me just the name. Um, then I need to also, in the end, I just try to make sure by making sure that I didn't check or take the answer and I was wrong, right? So I should be alert all the time. List of researchers. We have got here the first person who is Jor Kudla, and we know also some trainers actually would advise going through the statements first. Fine, okay, you can do either. You can see which one works for you best. So, guys, hopefully this was helpful. Make sure you follow the tips, the instructions, you implement them into your work and put them into practice. Let us know how it went. I am really looking forward. And I do believe that the more you practice, the better you will do for the test day. Remember, it's not just about doing practice tests or mock tests, it's really about preparing, getting your trying to understand your mistakes, where your errors lay, okay, and trying to fix them, working on them, and developing your vocabulary in general for reading. That's it, and I wish you good luck for your IELTS. Bye bye.